Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Glenn Weinzimmer, and let's queer up the worldview. JK Rowling calls Asexuality Day Fake Oppression Day. A creator responds. The co-creator of International Asexuality Day, Yasmin Benoit, is speaking out after author JK Rowling sparked controversy over the weekend by mocking asexuality on social media. On April 6th, Rowling took to Twitter to ridicule those marking International Asexuality Day, saying they're just people, quote, who want complete strangers to know they don't fancy a shag, end quote. The Harry Potter author followed up with several posts further questioning whether asexual people can really know if they're gay or straight, confusing asexuality with aromantic identities and generally dismissing the validity of ace experiences. Benoit, a leading UK asexual activist, told PinkNews, quote, a lot of people's introduction to International Asexuality Day has now been through JK Rowling's hating on it. It's becoming a conversation in so many spaces I haven't seen before, but for a negative reason. She kind of hijacked the occasion, end quote. Benoit described a wave of online abuse since Rowling's comments went viral. She says the backlash proves why asexual activism is essential. Queer News Tonight shared a news report yesterday on the study Benoit co-authored with King's College London that showed alarming statistics of 11% of Brits not believing asexual people exist. Despite the hate, Benoit says she's also seen solidarity online. She continues to advocate for legal protections for asexual people in the UK, protections that are currently non-existent. It's an interesting story to me because what you do in your bedroom, we talk about all the time, is your personal business. And if you do nothing in your bedroom, that's still your personal business. And I really don't know how this is a group. I mean, I understand it, but I have a little trouble, maybe you guys can help me with, why asexual people need necessarily their own designation, like everyone else under the LGBTQAI or IA plus communities. I mean, it's just their choice for sex. You don't have, well, you do have leather groups and stuff like that, but it just seems like, I don't know why they would want to be highlighted and why anyone would care what they're doing.
Well, I'm totally with you on that. And when you look at people that perceive gay people as people that are having sex in a bedroom, we are not those people. We are not advocating to have sex anywhere. We're advocating for our rights to be with who we want to be with.
Right.
And it's a very different condition. We never talk about what we do in the bedroom. It's nobody's business. Well, we might talk about it with each other, but overall,
Saturday night or a Sunday morning with a newspaper and a cigarette, which I don't even smoke.
But
sex
doesn't define us.
At the Floridian.
It's not who we are as a group. It's not who we are as a culture. It might be what we do in our private moments, just like being heterosexual. The sex you have doesn't define you.
I don't want to hear about
I'm
that
not sure. I'm not sure why this becomes a day. And what kind of protections are they looking for? I don't know.
I kind of got the impression by reading and doing a little homework here that this isn't about.
You're a good homework guy.
I do my homework.
He does.
I think this tends to be more like where the gay pride was in its early days, where it's about we're here.
So it's an acknowledgement of a group that
it's an acknowledgement of a group of people that exist, and it's also a way, because the numbers are so small in terms of the group of identifying as asexual, they're just saying, look, there are people like you out there. You are not alone in this.
Isn't anyone in a long-term relationship eventually asexual anyway?
Well, yeah, that's called marriage after 30 years.
Right, I'm like, whatever, I'll catch it tomorrow.
But I was thinking when the word protections was used for this group, as I thought is again as a gay or lesbian or as a trans person, there are parts of your life that you would literally have to hide, whether it's in the workplace, you may not put pictures on your desk, proverbial desk or whatever, wherever you may work, or for a trans person to just show up being who they in their true identity.
Right.
For an asexual person, and I guess maybe that's not the protections they're looking for, but I'm thinking this is not something that would ever come into the workplace because you would never have to talk about this.
Right. And your frame would be blank.
And there's no way to identify someone who's asexual. So I believe in representation. I believe every group should be able to represent, and if it's the...
And it doesn't mean an asexual person, forgive me for jumping in, is not in love or doesn't have a partner.
Yes.
It's just the act of what we consider part of a relationship isn't as important to them as other parts of the relationship. So it doesn't mean they're home and lonely. I would imagine, with, again, not having done any major research on it, that they're just like everybody else
Is the purpose of it to meet other asexual people?
You're asking me that as a question that I'm an expert on? I don't know, Dr. Wolf.
What little I could find, it didn't really identify any of that. It just said that they're just trying to reach out to other people in the same asexuality, if I can use that word.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for community support, which, I think that's, again, part of our community is we are inclusive of all different...
Right, our identity is about sexuality. So,
absolutely.
But the biggest thing with this whole story that irritates me is, yet JK Rowling gets to sit there and mouth off again, like, I'm sorry, but who the fuck cares?
Well, she's bringing attention to something that nobody cares about, to your point.
Well, but I mean, and I understand that, but anything she has to write.
She's a professional internet troll.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
she's wealthy and she has nothing else to do because she hasn't put out anything since
I think she's
Harry
like the
Potter.
Roseanne Barr of the UK.
Right.
Like, when she went off and got canceled.
Only not as attractive.
Then she became, just trolling every other
She's
thing.
got nothing else to do. She can't write any other books. Nobody cares.
Yes.
So it is what it is.
I care less about JK Rowling than I do about Asexuality Day by far.
Do you think that's a little bit of a distraction for our community? I kind of wonder. I kind of wonder if maybe people listen to that and go, and then there's those gays that are sleeping with men, and then there's those women that are sleeping with women or whatever. I wonder if then we start identifying groups by what they do in the bedroom instead of who they are as a person completely and fully.
I kind of feel where I defend it is, how do you find other people like yourself? So, you go out into the public and you're out with friends and you're asexual, but everyone you meet wants to take you home and have sex with them. And you're like, that's not what I really, and so how do you identify other people like me? So if you are identifying and joining a group of people under a certain label, a flag, or whatever we want to call it, then you're at least amongst people that are in the same mindset. So when you go to find a partner, you've narrowed it down to people that are more like you. And so maybe you're more likely to find somebody who feels the same way you do. And it's not a conflict in the relationship because you're highly sexual and the other person is completely asexual. And there's always this tension. So there is that side of it where having said what I said earlier, it makes sense that they might want to have some way to find each other.
Some sort of identity where it's not an embarrassment.
Here's an honest story.
I want to know what the flag is going to look like because we're running out of ideas.
Flag.
Here's an honest story. A few years back, I was on Grindr. And there was a guy, I only did it for a day.
Whatever.
It just happened to be one day. So I was on Grindr and there was this pretty hot guy that we just got along great. And we were talking for a couple weeks. Did I say one day? I meant a couple of weeks. I meant a month.
You have
a month.
an annual
I think it was a month.
Come on.
And we started talking and finally he said to me, I just want you to know I like you. You're a nice guy, but we're not going to have sex. I go, no, you're the first person to tell me that. But we started talking. He said, no, it's not you. He said, I broke up with my partner 3 years ago and I have not had sex with anybody and I'm not having sex with anybody. So, of course, I pushed the envelope a little bit, but it went nowhere. And
then there was
surprisingly, I never met him.
And a restraining order.
How did that get out? How did that word get out?
No means no.
No, but it ended up that I decided not to meet him.
Right.
And so it's a full circle.
Right. So the story then makes a little bit more sense.
Not a lot, but a little.
Okay.
Well, good conversation. And that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.